start our session today. In the last session, we have started discussing about performance evaluation. And we had a discussion related to few performance metrics. Those can be used for regression algorithms to evaluate the performance of regression algorithms, right? Under which we have seen two important performance metrics to compute the error, and those were absolute error and the sum of squares error. Sometimes in literature you may find that as this is giving us the average or mean, these performance metrics are also known as mean absolute error and mean sum of square, right? So we have gone through these two error metrics, and these are usually meant for the regression problems, right? Because in regression we are computing some continuous values, we are predicting some continuous values, and based on that it is possible to compute the error. Okay, so I hope you must have understood those concepts. Now today we are going to focus upon the performance evaluation metrics with respect to the classification task. And under classification, we are going to focus upon the performance metrics like accuracy, error rate, and few other characteristics we are going to derive from one of the matrix, and that is known as the confusion matrix. So let's begin our discussion. So what is accuracy? Let me tell you what is accuracy, what we mean by accuracy. We are talking about the classification problem, right? We are talking about the classification problem. Let us assume that our classification is binary classification. That means we are having only two classes, yes and no, true or false, positive and negative, right? So what is accuracy? Accuracy is the percentage of correct classification. What we mean by that? If actually my sample is of class positive, or if my sample belongs to class yes and it is predicted as class yes, or my sample belongs to class no and it is also predicted as class no. What it indicates? It indicates that my sample is being classified appropriately with the correct class label. So if I am having, or if I am testing, say for example 100 samples, and out of those 100 samples, if 95 samples are being classified correctly, then what I can say? I can say that my accuracy is 95%, because 95 samples out of 100 are classified correctly. So obviously, if accuracy is 95%, the error is 5%. Okay, so usually the error rate is computed like accuracy, error rate is computed as 1 minus accuracy. Or in other way, we may say that accuracy is 1 minus error rate. Okay, so if my accuracy is 95%, obviously my error rate is 5%. Or if I say my accuracy is 0.95, then my error rate is 0.05. Okay, so error rate is the percentage of incorrect classification, and accuracy is the percentage of correct classification, right? So I hope you must have understood these two concepts. So let us proceed with the concept of confusion matrix. So to begin our discussion, we are assuming that we are dealing with a two-class classification problem or a binary classification problem. wherein we are having only two classes, right? So what we mean by a confusion matrix? So whatever you are observing right now in the screen, so on this screen we are having one matrix. So what kind of matrix it is? See here what we have. We are having two classes in our problem. What are those two classes? We are having positive class and we are having negative class. Okay, so here and in this matrix, as I am having two classes, I am having two rows and I am having two columns. So what are those two rows? These two rows are actually indicating my actual positive row and actual negative row. These are meant for actual labels, okay? And whatever are the predicted labels, I'll be having the columns for that. So predicted positive and predicted negative. These are two columns. And what are the rows? Actual positive and actual negative. Right? Positive and negative are two classes. Now, we are having depicted here few terms. What are those? TP called as true positive, TN called as true negative, FP that is false positive, and FN that is false negative. So what we mean by that? If actually my sample is positive and if it is predicted as positive, then we say that it is true positive. I'll repeat. If actually my sample is positive and it is predicted as positive, then it is called as true positive. If my sample is positive but it is predicted as negative, so wrong prediction. My sample actually is positive but it is predicted as negative, then we say that it is false negative because it is actually positive and predicted as negative. So it is false negative. If my sample is negative and predicted as negative, sample actually is negative and predicted also as negative. So correct prediction for negative class. So we say that these samples are true negative. Actually actually negative and predicted as negative. So these samples are true negative. Wherein if actually the class of the sample is negative but they are predicted as positive, then these samples are called as false positive because incorrectly they are being classified as positive even though they belong to actually the negative class. So actual negative class but predicted as positive, then we say that these samples are false positive. Are you getting me?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So based on this confusion matrix, I hope you must have understood this terminology: true positive, true negative, false positive, false negative, right? And how we are going to compute these quantities, correct? So based upon whatever are the observations, according to those observations we'll be getting those counts: true positive, true negative, false positive and false negative, right? So whatever may be the total samples, those I am testing, out of those total samples, I may, based on the observations, I may count the number of samples, those are true positive, the number of samples, those are false negative, number of samples, those are false positive, and number of samples, those are true negative. So it is possible, based on these observations, it is possible for me to come up with such kind of a confusion matrix. Now, once I am having such kind of a confusion matrix, based on these values, computed values and those counts, we are having some performance metrics. So let us go through all those performance metrics. right? So what we are having, the first performance metric, accuracy. So as we have mentioned earlier also, what we mean by accuracy. So what we said, what is accuracy? Accuracy is the percentage of correctly classified samples. Okay, so based on this confusion matrix, how we are going to compute the accuracy now? So just look at this expression for accuracy. Accuracy is being computed as true positive plus true negative divided by total number of samples. Or in other words, we may say that it is true positive plus true negative divided by true positive plus true negative plus false positive plus false negative. How many samples we have? The summation of all these four. Those many samples we have tested, and those many samples we have categorized based on the results, those we have observed. So total number of samples are summation of all these four. TP plus TN plus FP plus FN, right? And how many samples we have correctly classified? TP plus TN. So actual positive predicted as positive. So correct classification. Actual negative and classified as negative. So once again correct classification. So how many samples those are being correctly classified? TP plus TN divided by total number of samples. So this will provide us the accuracy. Am I correct? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
May I proceed with the next?
Yes.
Fine. The next performance metric that we are going to see is called as true positive rate, or it is also called as recall, or it is also known as sensitivity. You please have a note of all these performance metrics, right? And whenever we are building any model, whenever we are coming up with some algorithm for machine learning algorithm for classification task, then to evaluate the performance of our model, we need to make use of these performance metrics. Okay, so these are really very important to assess our model. Okay, so this next performance measure is true positive rate, which is also called as recall, and or it is also called as sensitivity. So how to compute this true positive rate or recall or sensitivity? It is equal to TP divided by actual positive. What is TP? TP means the samples those are actually positive and correctly predicted as positive. So true positives divided by actual positives. What we mean by actual positives? How many actual positive samples we have? TP plus FN. Those are actually positives, right? Out of TP plus FN, TP samples are correctly classified as positive, correct? But FN samples, even though those were positives, those were classified incorrectly as negative. So actual total positive samples are TP plus FN, right? Out of those, true positives, that means actually positive and predicted as positive, are TP samples. So true positive rate is computed as TP divided by TP plus FN. TP divided by actual positive samples, right? And it is called as true positive rate or recall or sensitivity. Correct? I hope you must have understood. It is true positive rate. How many samples are being correctly classified as positive out of total number of positive samples? Okay, it is recall, true positive rate. The next metric is true negative rate, and this is also called as specificity, right? So how to define this true negative rate? It is defined as Tn, that is true negative, divided by actual negative. So what is true negative? True negative are those samples, those are actually negative and predicted as negative, true negative. Correct? So how many actual negative samples we had? Fp plus Tn. Right? So Tn divided by actual negative, that means Tn plus Fp. This will give me true negative rate or specificity. Okay? Any doubts so far?
No, ma'am.
May I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's go to the next performance metric, that is called as precision or predicted positive value. Precision. So what is precision? Precision is true positive divided by predicted positive. What do we mean by that? True positive means the samples, those are correctly accepted. The samples, those actually were positive and predicted as positive, true positive, divided by predicted positive. So how many samples are predicted as positive? That count is TP plus FP. Right? So those many samples TP plus FP are computed, or rather are classified as positive, are predicted as positive. Right? So out of TP plus FP, actual positive were TP. Right? So precision is defined with this expression, true positive divided by predicted positive. True positive divided by TP plus FP. Right? The next performance metric is false positive rate. We have seen true positive rate. So similarly, we are having false positive rate. So what we mean by false positive rate, or it is also called as false alarm. Okay. So what we mean by that, it is given as false positive divided by actual negative. False positive divided by actual negative. What we mean by that? It is false positive, or rather false positive rate. So how many false positives we have? FP. What is false positive? It is actually negative, but it is predicted as positive. Right? It is actually negative. In fact, that should be classified as negative, but incorrectly that is classified as positive. Okay? So, false positive divided by actual negative. What are actual negatives? Fp plus Tn. These are actual negatives. Right? So, false positive rate is false positive divided by actual negative. Fp divided by Tn plus Fp, or in other words, it can also be written as 1 minus specificity. So specificity is true negative rate. So 1 minus true negative rate is false positive rate. Okay, or it is also called as false alarm. We are going to see one example, right? How it works with actual some values for true positive, true negative, false positive and true negative, right? Fine. So this is one more metric, false positive rate or false alarm. Now, what else we can derive? We can derive false negative rate as well. False negative rate. So how false negative rate can be expressed in terms of all those terms? False negative rate. So false negative Fn divided by actual positive. So Fn divided by Tp plus Fn, actual positive. This is called as false negative rate. Fn, that is the false negative, that means actually the sample is positive but reported as negative, divided by actual number of positive samples. Those are Tp plus Fn. Okay, so this gives me the false negative rate. Okay, now one more metric, misclassification rate or error rate. We have seen this earlier, misclassification rate or error rate. We defined it like 1 minus accuracy. We have defined accuracy earlier. So it is 1 minus accuracy. That is misclassification rate or error rate. Also, it can be expressed like Fp plus Fn. Which are the samples? Those are misclassified. Actually positive, predicted as negative, so misclassification. Actual negative, predicted as positive, so once again misclassification. So total number of misclassification samples are Fp plus Fn. Fp plus Fn out of total number of samples divided by total. So total is nothing but Tp plus Fn plus Fp plus Tn. So this will give me misclassification rate or error rate. And as we have stated earlier, this can also be computed as 1 minus accuracy. Okay, now apart from all this, one more major metric we are having, and that is called as F1 score. So we are going to focus upon that also. But once again, let us look at all those metrics and how to interpret those. So what is accuracy? Overall, how often is the classifier correct? Overall, how often is the classifier correct? So how often my classifier is predicting the correct result? That is nothing but accuracy. What is true positive rate? When it's actually yes or when it's actually positive, how often does it predict yes? Or how often does it predict positive? So it is actually positive, and how often my classifier is predicting it as positive. That ratio is given as true positive rate. What is true negative rate? It is when it's actually negative, how often does my classifier predict as negative? When it is actually negative, how often my classifier predicts it negative? So true negative divided by actual negative, Fp plus Tn. Okay. Next, precision. What we mean by precision? When my classifier predicts a sample as positive, how often it is correct? So true positive divided by Tp plus Fp. So what we mean by that? Number of times the sample is being predicted positive is Tp plus Fp. So we are finding out when it is predicting positive, how many times actually it is positive. So Tp divided by Tp plus Fp. So when classifier predicts yes, how often is it correct? False positive rate. When it's actually no, how often it is predicted yes? If it is actually no, how often it is predicted yes? Right? That is false positive rate, Fp divided by actual negative. Next is false negative rate. So how to interpret this? When it's actually positive, how often does it predict negative? We'll repeat. When it is actually positive, how often does it predict negative? So it is given as false negative divided by actual positive. Okay. Next is the misclassification rate. So simply it is how often my classifier is wrong. How often my classifier is predicting incorrectly. That is called as misclassification rate. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, apart from all these performance measures, we are having one more, and that is known as F1 score. F1 score. So we have seen two performance metrics, recall, and also we have seen the precision, right? So what recall is giving me? It is giving me true positive rate, and what precision is giving me? It is giving me the predicted positive value. Okay. Now, sometimes based on what kind of problem we are solving, sometimes recall is the most appropriate one, sometimes precision is most appropriate one, right? But many times we need to have a good trade-off of these performance measures, and for that reason one more performance metric was proposed, and that is called as F1 score, right? Or sometimes it is called as F1 measure. So this is defined as the harmonic mean of precision and recall. So it is given with the mathematical expression like 2 into precision into recall divided by precision plus recall. So this is one of the performance metric that can also be used, F1 score. And this is based on the values precision and recall, right? Ultimately precision is computed by making use of this confusion matrix, and recall is also computed by making use of this confusion matrix, right? So these are various metrics, those can be used to evaluate the performance of our classification algorithm. Now you might have curious to know why these many performance metrics, why we are having so many performance metrics, right? As far as the problem of classification is considered, right? So in fact, depending on the kind of a problem that we are solving, we need to pick the appropriate performance metric out of all those. Usually accuracy is the good performance metric. Why? Because accuracy is actually giving us the overall picture, how good my classifier is, right? So accuracy is actually giving us the overall picture, like how often my classifier is predicting correctly, right? So usually accuracy is being used as the performance metric to evaluate the performance of the classifier. But why we are having those many different performance metrics other than accuracy? Accuracy is not enough. And the reason is, see, sometimes what happens is, let us assume that we are having 100 samples, total 100 samples, those we are testing. Okay, and let us assume that I am having accuracy of 94%. What we mean by that? Accuracy 94%. Out of all the samples, those are being tested, 94 samples out of 100 are being classified correctly, and that is why I am saying this is my accuracy, right? But whether it is enough just to find out how many are true positive and how many are true negative out of the total number of samples, is it enough just to know how many are true positive, that means correctly classified as positive, and how many are true negative, that means correctly classified as negative? Whether it is enough? or we need to have some other kinds of insights depending on the problem that we are solving? Yes, I'm expecting the answers from you. I want your participation in this. Whether only accuracy will help us in all the scenarios, or whether we should think of something extra also.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. We should error.
Error, yes, error is the number of misclassification rate. Once we know the accuracy, it is possible to find out the error. In this scenario, our error rate is 0.06 or 6%. Correct, na? So apart from this accuracy and error, do you feel like we should have these kinds of metrics, and in which scenario those will help us?
Yes, ma'am.
So just imagine, or can you give me one situation where these other metrics can also help me?
In classification.
Yes, everything is related to classification only right now. Just I'm asking you a question like, why we are having so many performance measures, right? One may say that accuracy and error rate are enough to find out the performance of my classifier, right? But as these are not enough, we are having, based on this confusion matrix, we have come up with so many different performance metrics. So why we require all those performance metrics? As I mentioned, depending on the nature of the problem, the kind of the problem, it is possible, or we need to make use of these different kinds of performance metrics. So let me give you one example, right? So right now what I said that out of 100 samples, right, 94 samples are being correctly classified, right, and 6 samples are incorrectly classified, and that is why accuracy is good enough. 94% is my accuracy. Okay, but sometimes this accuracy will not provide me the real insight what my classifier is doing. So let me give you one example. Let us assume that this classifier is classifying the sample positive or negative. So we are trying to identify whether the patient is having a disease or the patient is not having a disease. What my problem is, whether the patient is having a disease or whether the patient is not having a disease. Right? So, if the patient is actually having the disease, that means if the patient is actually positive and if that patient is correctly classified as positive, we say that these are true positive cases. Is that correct? And if the patient is actually not having the disease and if the patient is predicted as the patient is not having the disease, then it is true negative. So based on true positive and true negative, we have computed this accuracy. But in this scenario, I don't think that accuracy would be enough to have the insight about the actual performance of our algorithm. In this scenario, what I'm expecting is, if actually my patient is positive, then that patient should be reported as positive with the maximum rate, because I do not want that my patient is having the disease and it is diagnosed as not having the disease, because this is more risky for me. Okay, and that is why what I'm expecting here, I'm expecting here that if my patient is positive, right, my true positive rate should be good enough. What does this mean? If the patient is actually positive, right, then I'm having the count of actual positive patients. So how many actual positive patients are there? Actual positive patients are like TP plus FN, right? And how many positive patients are predicted? True positive, predicted correctly as positive, it is TP. So what I want in this case, my recall must be high. What does this mean? If my patient is positive, it should be reported correctly with the maximum rate as positive, because I do not want to miss a single patient, right? So in this scenario, what I would expect my recall value to be high, right? So if I only deal with accuracy, it is considering the actual correctly classified cases. So it may happen that my true positive cases, those are classified correctly, are less, but true negative are being classified correctly. This count is more than this, right? So true negatives are being classified correctly. So that also is included in my accuracy, right? And true positive also are included in my accuracy. But the true positive rate is small. So if true positive rate is small, then this kind of a classifier may not be accepted. Why? Because even though my patient is deceased, it is not identifying that my patient is deceased. Right? So I need to focus upon this true positive rate also, because this will provide me more insight about the performance of my classifier. So this is one simple example that wherein we may say that this kind of a metric, that is true positive rate or recall, is of having importance, right, to actually find out the performance of my classifier. Similarly, in various scenarios, I may have the importance of all those different performance metrics. So as I mentioned, depending on what kind of problem we are solving, we need to use that kind of performance metric. Right? Sometimes I do not want the false alarms. What are the false alarms? What are the false alarms? Actually, this has not happened, but it is predicted as this has happened. So that is false alarm. Sometimes I do not want false alarm, but sometimes it may happen that based on my problem, I may tolerate the false alarms. Say for example, I'll give you one more example. Okay, so recently I have mentioned you, I have worked on one problem, right? And that problem was related to the behavioral analysis and the activity recognition task for elderly people. So what I try to do, depending on whatever are the videos, those are being acquired from the various cameras, those are deployed at several places, right? Those cameras are continuously acquiring the videos of the elderly people. And what I wanted to do is, if there is, say for example, the abnormal event like fall of a person. So if there is a fall of a person, right, who is living alone in the home, if there is a fall, then that activity needs to be reported immediately to the caregivers, so that the person can immediately get some emergency help, right? So this was the problem statement. So what I wanted to do, if there is a fall of a person, then immediately that fall needs to be reported to the caregivers. Correct? So in this case, I hope you must have understood the problem statement. Have you understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so in this problem statement, let us assume, this is just the assumption, let us assume that there are 100 false. There are 100 false. Okay, and if out of 100, okay, if out of 100, say only 70% false are being reported as correctly the false, right? So out of 100 actual false, right, 70 false. Actually, how many false are there? 100. But only 70 false are being reported correctly. What does this mean? 30 times, even though the person has the problem, that was not being reported. 30 times, right? So whether I should accept such kind of a system, such kind of algorithm, such kind of a model?
No.
No. Why? Because 30 times it has not reported me that the person is having the problem. So I need not accept such kind of a model because 13 cases are missed. But now what happens in this scenario, sometimes even though the person is not having the problem, there is no fall of a person, but still sometimes it may happen that my system is alarming me that there is a fall. Okay, actually there is no fall, but my system is saying that there is a fall. So in fact this is a misclassification. Actually there is no fall, but the system is predicting that there is a fall. So this is a misclassification actually. But even though I am having the false alarm, I may tolerate this model because there is no harm in having, in this situation, there is no harm that I am getting a false alarm. Right? Why? Because it is okay. There is no fall, but still I am getting alarm and I am looking at the person. So there is no harm in this. So even though sometimes if I am getting more false alarm, I may tolerate the system. Right? But if I am missing some of the cases, some of the false, then I may not tolerate this system. Is that correct? And that is why I am saying it is not only the matter of accuracy of my system, right? But we should think of in other conditions also. Sometimes false alarms are allowed, or even though the system is having significant higher count for false alarm, that is accepted. But I do not want to miss any positive case, because that is what I am most interested in knowing. Right? So depending on what kind of application that we are building, we are having the significance of these various performance metrics. Right? So I hope you must have understood the concept. Okay? So let me give you one typical example with computations. Right? So let us see how we are going to compute all those performance metrics based on one typical example. So let us assume that we are having two classes, right? If the sample has disease, then it is called as positive, and if the sample is not having the disease, so no disease means negative. So we are having binary classification, positive, negative. So sample has disease means positive and sample has no disease means negative. Right? Now, total number of samples those we are testing are 165. Total number of samples those we are testing are 165. Okay? Now, this is, so after testing 165 samples, whatever are our observations, those observations are being mentioned here, right? So we are having TP, true positive, equal to 100. So what we mean by this TP equal to 100? So 100 samples we predicted as positive. That means we have predicted that 100 samples are deceased, and actually they are deceased. Right? Now, what about this true negative, false negative? What we mean by this false negative? We predicted that the sample is not having the disease, right? But actually the sample is diseased. So obviously we need to look for the model that will reduce this count, false negative. Why? Because what it has been predicting as the negative. So no disease, but actually my sample is positive. That means it is deceased, and I need not tolerate such situation, because if the person is deceased, I want to report it as deceased. If it is missing, then it will not be suitable or it will not be good, and that is why I need to make sure that my model is minimum number of false negatives in this case, because if the sample is deceased, I want to predict is as deceased. If it is predicted as not deceased, then that person may not get further treatment, right? And this would be harmful for the health of that person. And that is why in this scenario, what I would like to have is my model should have minimum false negatives. Right? Now, we are having false positive equal to 100, equal to 10. What it means, false positive? We are predicting the sample as positive, but it is actually negative. We are predicting the sample as positive, but it is actually negative. Okay, what we mean by true negative? The sample actually is negative, and it is also predicted as negative. So we are having 100 samples, those are identified as true positives, 5 samples, those are false negatives, 10 samples, those are false positives, and 50 samples, those are true negatives. So obviously, how many actual positive samples are there? Actual positive samples, 105. Out of 105, 100 are being correctly predicted as positive and 5 are predicted as negative. How many actual negative samples? Those we tested? 60. Correct? So out of those 60 negative samples, we have predicted 50 correctly as negative, but 10 samples are incorrectly predicted as positive. Is that correct? So we may tolerate this, but we may not tolerate this. We may not tolerate higher count for false negative. Sometimes we may tolerate this false positive, but not false negative in this scenario. Okay, so overall number of samples 165. So we have actual 105 positive samples tested and 60 negative samples tested. So total count is 165. Right? Fine. Now, based on whatever formulae or expressions we derived in the earlier slide, we are making use of all those expressions and we are computing actually the values. So what is the accuracy now? Accuracy is equal to true positive plus true negative divided by total number of samples. So how many true positives? 100. How many true negatives? 50. So correctly classified samples are 150 out of 165. So accuracy is 0.91. True positive rate, TP divided by actual positive. How many true positives? 100. How many actual positives? 105. So out of 105 positive samples, actual positive samples, 100 are being correctly classified as positive. So true positive rate or recall is 0.95. True negative rate or specificity, Tn divided by actual negative. So actually I had 60 samples, those were negative. Out of 60 samples, 50 samples are correctly classified as negative. So my true negative rate is 0.83. Precision, true positive divided by predicted positive. So actually how many samples are predicted positive? 110. Actual positive samples, those are being predicted as positive are 100. So true positive 100 divided by 110, those are predicted as positive, right? So my precision is 0.91. False positive rate, FP divided by actual negative. So 10 divided by 60 equal to 0.17. So this is false alarm, false positive rate. Then false negative rate, false negative divided by actual positive. So how many false negatives are there? 5. Divided by actual positive. How many actual positive? 105. So my false negative rate is 0.05. Misclassification rate, obviously it is 1 minus accuracy. So 1 minus 0.91, it is 0.09, or in other words we may compute it like FP plus FN divided by total. So 15 divided by 165, it comes out to be 0.09, and F1 square, F1 score is 2 into precision into recall divided by precision plus recall. So it comes out to be 0.93. So this is how, based on the actual data, actual confusion matrix, it is possible for us to come up with all those quantities. Those actually are describing the performance of my classifier. Is there any doubt? Please let me know. Yes? Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Yes. Have you understood the concept?
Yes, ma'am.
Various performance metrics, and the most important thing is we are having so many performance metrics, and we need to make use of those performance metrics to evaluate the performance of our classification model, our classification algorithm, our classifier. So we talked about binary classifier right now, having only 2 classes, but it is possible to extend this concept of confusion matrix with more than 1 classes also. As I think we are out of time, it is not possible to focus upon the multiple classes right now. So in the next class, we'll focus upon multiple classes as well, and how the confusion matrix looks like. Right? So I hope you must have understood these concepts, and you must have some insight. What is the need of such kinds of performance metrics? Right? And depending on whatever kind of application we have, we need to appropriately select the performance metric that will give us more insight about the performance of our model. Okay, so if you are not having any doubts, let us conclude this session. I'll be posting the link for the quiz. So all of you should respond to the quiz. Right? So let's conclude today. Thank you.